Virtually faithful is she. That's an inside joke between me and virtually. uh, Hope this finds you well. I am well. Of course, you know I love your stories and just wonder about the following things. Okay. Would you ever want to do a legacy again? Yes. If so, any challenges in particular? Yes. The differences in, I was about to say differences in appearances. The differences in the family tree challenge. Why? Well, it sounds like fun. So, okay, from this experience doing the Pruett legacy the way that I did it, um, meaning there were outside influences, um, that challenge is kind of set up to be that way. So if you don't know what it is, pretty much, and I'm going to do it my way. I don't know if I can ever do, well, the Pruitt's by the end or even by the middle was barely Penn Star compliant. I mean, there were a few rules that I did keep to the end, but barely. So I don't know if I could ever do a completely Penn Star compliant legacy. And I will probably bend every rule for every legacy that I ever do. So when I do this challenge, I'm going to make it known that I'm doing my own rules. So anyway, so the challenge starts where generation one, they're farmers and they live off the land, and they have kids, but like the heir of that, I don't think there's really heirs and spares in this story. It's just different stories of the family. So the next kid you want to focus on, so to speak, is divergent and doesn't want to be in the farming business, and he wants to be in business and move to the city and start a family, or not, whatever. And so that kid goes and lives their life, but then their kids don't like the way they live their life and they go live something else. And so, every generation there's a different scenario. And as a writer, a storyteller, that just sounds like storytelling heaven to me. So I have to do it. That's why I want to do that one. Will you bring back any other characters like you did Melody and River for Fish? Yes. Well, kind of. As of this moment, I don't have a specific story planned for any specific Pruett. I do have another story that I am writing. I don't know when it's going to come out because I want to have it, like I want to have a lot of chapters written up before I start it, so I don't start and stop. But in that story, I'm going to bring back a throwback Pruett couple for you guys. I can't wait till you find out who it is. I'm not going to tell you. So, I plan to have Pruitts sprinkled here and there, but as of this moment, I don't have like a story that is solely about some Pruitt. So I hope that makes sense what I just said. What made you want to try a legacy and blog it? Well, I'm an old school simmer. I've been playing Sims. I made the Sims. No, for real. Like, my siblings and I, we love Max's games, and we played the first Sim City back in the day when it was in black and white and only for Macintosh. I was in middle school. Yeah, middle school. And then we moved from Sim City. We played Sim Farm. Love that. My brother tried not Sim Tycoon. What was that Tycoon? Some Tycoon game. I don't know. And he tried like Sim Park or Sim Thief. I don't know, something. I didn't really like that one, but Anyway, so we were playing Sim Farm one time, and we were like, you know what? They should do this with people. That would be like the best game ever. So, years later, The Sims. So I always say that my brother and my sister and I, we are the creators of The Sims. Anyway, I've been playing The Sims since day one. And I was never involved in the community, didn't know the community even existed, except Sims 3. I knew about the community from those homepages we used to have with Sims 3. So, but I didn't like explore them. As a matter of fact, the only time I ever really explored a community was A, when I had a problem and I needed to see if other people knew how to fix it, and B, when Showtime came out and I needed to make friends to send my Sims, on tour. Other than that, I didn't touch the community. I mean, it's not that I didn't like it. I didn't need that to enhance my gameplay. So therefore, I didn't know anything about SimLit. I didn't know people wrote stories. I heard of legacy challenges. And at one point, I did look up the rules. But for some reason, I thought it was so hard. I mean, it sounded like the most labor intensive thing ever to me. And I was just like, there's no way in the world I'm writing. When I'm writing, I'm going to play this way. So, toward the end of my Sims 3 life, I actually did get a hold of some SimLit. Some of you guys have read it, called Alice and Kev. Great story. One of the best ones I've read still. But that story, I was so inspired by that story, I actually considered writing like doing my own kind of homeless challenge. I didn't know they actually had things called homeless challenges, but I actually did create a sim and I did play a homeless sim because I was so inspired by Alice and Kev. And I briefly thought about doing my own story, but I was like, well, we have Alice and Kev. What do we need my version? I didn't think I could make it as compelling as Alice and Kev, so I decided not to write it. And that was the last I ever knew about SimLit. Sims 4 came out, and there was a big push toward the community. So I joined the community. And I don't know how, I don't know why, but some kind of way I found myself in the stories and legacy section of the forums. I don't know why. I mean, it's not like I was looking to read SimLit. It's not like I was thinking about reading SimLit, but I just kind of ended up there. Anyway, so naturally, I went to the Legacy Challenge thread and saw what people were doing, and I read the rules, and for some reason, it didn't seem to be as laborious as I thought it was in The Sims 3. And I thought to myself, I could actually do this. And so, I created, well, Xavier actually already existed. That's not even his real name. He was a sim I created in the demo, actually. What was his real name? His last name was Williams. He had different traits and everything. I don't remember what his name was, but I liked him. Like, I liked the way he looked. And yeah. So the way he was, I was like, he doesn't seem like the type of guy that would start a legacy, like he wasn't really about much. Yeah. So I changed his aspiration and I changed just a few of his traits. I think the other guy was also active, but I think he was like materialistic. And I was like, that's not going to work. So anyway, yeah, I revamped Xavier, and I started. I I started the save. I didn't play them yet, but I plopped them in the world, and I bulldozed a lot and everything. And I was trying to not plan the story because, you know, but I was thinking about it, and I was like, I know myself, and it's going to take a long time to do this challenge. And I know for certain I'm not going to finish this thing. I mean, I'm just not. I mean, I quit things, you know, because I mean, honestly, as much as I love this game and I love The Sims, and as long as I've been playing it, I get bored with the game. The game is boring after a certain point. And I knew when that point came, I was going to be done. So I figured, well, if you wrote the story, that would make it fun for you to keep yourself invested and motivated and whatnot. And at the time, I've been writing a book for a very long time. And at that time, I was stuck in my novel, and I just couldn't figure something out. And so I put that down, but I still felt the need to have some sort of creative outlet. So I was like, you know what? This is it. This is going to be my, get my brain right so I can write my book type thing. So that's how I decided to write it. And then I was like, well, writing it will keep myself invested. Excuse me. But if other people actually read it, this is probably not the right way to think about things, but I am more prone to do something for someone else than I am to do for myself, which probably isn't that good. But not saying that I wrote this for you all, because I didn't. I wrote it to keep myself invested and entertained and to grow as a writer. But as far as the will to keep going, that definitely came from you guys, because I'm pretty sure I would have quit if I wasn't writing it. So yeah, thank y'all for the will to carry on.